Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, your old pal Katie, and of course Ja. Today we are doing a vlog I have wanted to do since I started this, going to a place from a movie I've always wanted to see. My mom loved this movie. Somewhere in time, we're going to Mackinac Island, Michigan today. Daze with Jordan the Lion, and you all. It begins right now. You ready for this experience, Chief? And Mackinac Island is no cars allowed. For filming, they had to get special permits and permission for Richard to drive his car up there, but otherwise, you take a ferry out and you could only get around by horse and carriage or bicycle. You ready for some Somewhere in Time?
Yes.
So we get a shot of Richard's car coming up this way toward drives right past the turnoff for the Grand. And he goes up here just past this little white thing, and then he stops and thinks and backs his car up. All the way to here, and then turns and goes right up in there. And there was a Grand Hotel sign that used to be right here. Look at this. This is the carpet when you check in. This place is beautiful. Things you don't see in the movie are just amazing here. So this section over here is where he checks in the movie. When he arrives, this would have been the front desk. It's not the front desk to the hotel, but you could see they would have added, there's already the white pillars and stuff here. They would have added a little bit more over here and all that, put the desk here. And
have a pleasant stay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Is this your first time here, Mr.
And they end up doing two different time frames too, because they're doing 1979 when they filmed it, and then they go back in time to 1912. So while he's checking in, you can kind of see this stuff in the background, off the side, same carpet even.
Thank you. Is this your first time here, Mr.
Collier.
Same chairs. You can see the chandeliers when Arthur's talking to him.
Arthur, 313, please.
And then when Richard is getting escorted to his room, they're coming this way, and he's saying that he had heard about this place but never had made it here.
Yeah, for some reason I never got around to coming here. I always heard how nice it was, though.
Oh, when was that?
And they're like, oh yeah, when was that? He said, oh, about 8 years ago.
Oh, about 8 years ago. See, I used to be a student up at Millfield College.
And they end up walking this whole way over till they get to this elevator.
Yeah, the students come here now and then to enjoy the restaurant and the rooms.
And that's when they're talking about how he's been here, you know, basically his whole life, the guy that works here.
You've been here that long?
Well, I've been here since 1910.
1910?
Uh-huh. Came here with my parents when I was 5 years old.
Really?
Saying that his dad used to work the front desk and that he was here as a kid. Same exact elevator. How cool is that? See if it looks the same inside.
My father was a desk clerk. I used to drive him crazy playing ball in the lobby.
Other than the mirror, the inside looks exactly the same. That's when he's saying I was lucky to have lived as long as I did.
He got so mad at me sometimes. I'm lucky I lived to be 6'3", George.
So now we're going to show you our room. Love the hallways. So cool. So I'll show you our room. Don't worry, we could not get there. They didn't actually film the scenes in their rooms here. There's a place here that's like a resort that at the time was Mackinac College, and the production took over that college during that time and built all the interiors for the hotel rooms and everything there.
Got yourself a nice view here.
Oh, great.
Let's see our view. Give us a couple of lawn chairs here, and we sure do. Great view out here.
Great.
Show you our bathroom. I did pay for a lakefront view. I'll tell you this is the most expensive place I've ever stayed. And that's including the Oscar Wilde room in Paris. Pretty cool room, but it was $850 a night. Eek! Even though the movie wasn't very successful when it came out, the success of fans loving it made it a cult success. So they started having festivals back here at the hotel. And even Christopher Reeve used to come here. He was the one that told Jane Seymour, you gotta come. These people just love the movie. It's got a whole world. He wanders over to the restaurant. The restaurant's closed when he gets here.
Yeah, when do you open?
In about 40 minutes, sir.
40 minutes?
Look in here, they have a whole room of memorabilia. Oh, this is incredible. I love this movie too. My mom used to play the theme song on her electric organ at our house all the time. Watched the movie all the time. So then when I became an adult, I watched it and I was like, man, it's actually a good movie. That is his bowler from the movie.
Good evening, Miss McKenna. You don't know me, but you will.
People are always mentioning how out of date and how out of style he is in the movie because he's wearing this suit and this. That is so cool, like that. Here's one of the bicycle license plates from filming. And over here they have signatures of both the leads, Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeve. Then this is signed by him, and it's a photo of him with the car in front of this place. A model of this place, if you remember in the movie, I believe this is the one from the movie. He lifts up, he goes to visit the woman where Elise used to live, and she shows him this when he lifts up the top of it. It plays Rachmaninoff.
She had that made.
And he says that's his favorite music in the world. How cool is that? That's the one. You can even see where the little hinge parts would be of that famous photo. And then portrait of the woman that Elise was, Susan French. There's Christopher Reeve here at the hotel. It looks like a colored pencil or maybe even like a watercolor piece of art. Jane Seymour has signed it. It says, thank you for the wonderful memories. Jane Seymour 2015. And here they have like a piece of art, and it's got room 117's key tag, which I don't believe there is a 117 here. They've got the little pocket watch in there. They've got all those little things from the movie. This is pictures from the production. This is kind of cool. Christopher Reeve with his bicycle out in front. Or we were showing the Grand Hotel historical sign is there now. And here's a production photo of them filming him coming in, and you can see the Grand Hotel sign that used to be there right in front of his car. So after Richard saw the room of the memorabilia with her picture and painting, he comes out this door, this far door right here, and he starts walking towards us. And then he comes over here and he finds Arthur.
Hi. Yes, Mr. Collier? Arthur.
That woman, the picture in the Hall of History, there's no nameplate. Who is it?
There's no nameplate.
Yes, that's Elise McKenna.
Famous actress. Performed a show here back in 1912. So when he tells him that she performed at the theater, Art's actually right here. It says theater? He says, yeah, down by the lake, and he points where the green grass is over there.
Starred in a play in the Hotel Theater.
I'm sorry. Did you say that there's a theater here?
Yeah, down by the lake.
So then Richard comes running out of those doors, comes running down here,
Hey, Arthur.
down this rail, and finds Art down here and asks him where the library is.
Arthur, hi. Listen, can you take my luggage and put it back in my suite? Great, thanks a lot. And can you tell me where the nearest library is?
And he hops in his car and takes off down that way to the library.
See you around, Arthur.
And so we're passing Marquette Park on our way through filming locations. I did read that Christopher Plummer, who played Robinson when he wasn't filming, would come to this park with his acoustic guitar and play folk songs. So it took us some searching, but we really only see it from kind of like the cars in front right here. And then he goes up to the front door and it's raining out. This is where he's trying to find out more about Elise. The way we could tell this was definitely it was the door windows match. The windows next to over here, those all match. And he tells the woman that he's writing a theater book, and she says she's not interested, but then he says he wants to know more about Elise McKenna, and when he starts asking questions, he then shows the pocket watch and finds out that Elise came to his show when he wrote his first play, so he had met her, and that was also the night she died. So he's starting to think that maybe he was back in time because he sees a book in her belongings that was written by one of his professors about time travel. So we're kind of on the main street here in Mackinac, and this is the scene where Richard's just met with his old teacher Finney, who wrote the time travel book. So he's decided he's gonna try it. So we see him walking right by here. At the time where this black and white awning was, it was a yellow awning, and he ends up stopping right here in front of this old theater. And he ends up running right underneath here. When he's running across the street, you can even see the Murdoch Fudge sign. So he actually cuts right through here, and Baxter's is right here, and they still identify themselves as the place where somewhere in time, storefront became Baxter's Coin Shop for a scene in the 1980 movie Somewhere in Time. The coin purchase scene was filmed looking through these two windows.
Hi. How do you do? Listen, do you have any 1912 money? I mean, very specifically 1912.
That's awesome. So he would have bought the coins right in here. Look at that. And they even have the famous photo of Elise in there. Photos from the movie. Oh wow, right inside the window they have a whole wall I didn't even see of memorabilia. Gonna have to get some of this stuff. Posters, postcards, signed by, wow, that is so cool. Jane.
What is pumpkin? Oh, yes. Just before we leave, I gotta get on my phone.
She signed that to Baxter's Coin Shop. I love it. Wow, very cool to see it still here. Right here where my beautiful Katie is running down, Richard is also running towards us. And they've repainted this railing since it was yellow in the movie. But right about here, Richard hops over the railing and runs down there, and he ends up at Art's cabin. And when he ran down that little hill, there was actually a little path that leads right to his cabin.
Arthur! Arthur?
Actually right over here beside the tennis courts. If you're looking for it when you come out here, it's still here. It's a night shot, but Richard comes up here and banging on the glass and banging on the door.
Arthur? 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 Come on, wake up.
Arthur opens the door and he says, Arthur, stuff in that history display. Where was it stored? Is there more of it? He said, oh, it was up in the attic. That's when he takes Richard up the attic, and Richard finds the guest registers from 1912 and finds out that he was here. He was in fact at the Grand Hotel that time. So when he travels back in time, he comes out of this elevator and it's all like wood colored.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
And even the lobby has changed. We see him looking at that front door and it's all wood grain. Green. This is when he's coming to check in to meet Elise back in time. This is the shot we see of when Arthur's playing ball and he throws it and Christopher Reeve, Richard, catches it right here, right in front. That's where he meets Arthur. He gives him back the ball and he says, "Are you Arthur?"
Are you Arthur?
Yes, sir.
Because of course Arthur's the old man that's showing him to his room in 1979. And then Arthur would have went and sat in this little corner over here with his ball. Richard can't check in yet because he has found the ledger, finding out when exactly he signed in and what room he had, so he has to replicate all of that. So I mentioned there was a resort that used to be a college. This is it, Mission Point Resort. This is where they filmed the interiors and built the props and everything for the movie. They would have filmed the interior of the hotel rooms. So even though Mackinac Island has a haunted theater, you would think that's where they filmed it, but they didn't. You actually need to go to Mission Point's theater. You know you're in the right place when they have the location plaque here. Richard sees the sign over here, and then he goes walking over here. Into this, because you can actually see those stairs. Somebody's actually coming out of here with materials as he's trying to go in. How cool. That is the stage. That's the stage. He sees them all rehearsing, where he sees Elise. Now what's cool is that in his seat, they actually have a plaque noting that he sat there. This is where she gives that great speech about if she were really in love with someone.
Is there any way that I can tell you how my life has changed?
And then she's looking out, and his seat is right here.
You brought it to me for the first time. Except for these. I love you.
I bet my mom is just loving seeing this. Katie, I forced you to watch this movie. You'd never heard of it until we decided to come here. Are you a fan of the movie, or are you just a fan of the island, or what does being in here mean to you?
Both. It's really cool. This island is literally like being thrown in a time machine. It's very cool to just see everything frozen in time.
Plus his seat, to me, that's just so magical right there. That's like, when you see that in the movie. It's like, I mean, basically they're falling in love right here. He's kind of fallen in love with her already, but when he's in his seat watching her and she's looking out at him, you just kind of know. So I didn't come all this way not to sit in it. Now, Katie, go up there and tell me how much you love me. Here's where she would have stood. This is also what gets Robinson really upset. He knows he's lost her now, so he sends that note saying that he needs to talk to Richard, and that's when the guys jump Richard. So Richard was actually sitting in the 4th row over here. And outside the theater that we were just in, actually have a little acknowledgement of it used to be the Mackinac College, like I mentioned. Past me all these beautiful houses. It brings us out to one of the most memorable parts in the movie. I have a rock and a plaque for the Is It You? This site on June 27th, 1912, Richard Collier found Elise McKenna. I love it. So we get Richard walking through these woods. With that amazingly gorgeous music playing behind him as he walks through here, looking at Elise. And then here are the famous trees.
Is it you? Is it?
So this is the scene where Richard would take his hat off and she would say, "Is it you?" And he would say, "Yes."
Yes. Are you all right?
This is such a cool moment in the movie. So cool to see. They've removed some of the trees. You can see that some of the trees that used to be over here gone. Some of the ones that were behind it, because she's kind of out here when he first sees her, and then she walks up and puts her hand on the trees and is watching him from here. I love it. I love that they put that plaque there. I love that. I mean, just in the time we've been here, couples have come up here to take a photo. And from where Elise was standing, she would have seen Richard coming from over there. So then while they're here, he says yes, right here across from her. That's when Robinson calls her name from over here, and he calls her to go with him from here.
May I speak to you, please?
He does dance with Elise in here in the dining room, so we're gonna have our breakfast and show you.
Good evening. Reservations for 4 under Woods. Woods. Yes.
Beautiful.
Monsieur, what time was the reservation? 8 p.m.
Good evening. This is Claudius.
This is the section where they would have been ballroom dancing together. This place is beautiful.
Isn't the lines at all? If only these actors.
They apparently have live music. I ordered the lox and cream cheese. Look at this. They serve my lox like a rose. So here's the shot we get of Richard actually sleeping out on that little lawn couch. Because he doesn't have a room yet. He's went back in time and he can't check into his room because he can't change history. He can't sign in at a different time that was in the ledger, so he's sleeping right here. So now we're on the yard, and of course we have a couple of scenes here, one of which being the morning breakfast. Richard's here at a table. Robinson comes and joins him.
Where are you from, Collier?
Chicago. Where are you from, sir?
I'm given to understand that you're a playwright.
Want to know who he is. Thinks he's here to take Elise away, put her in something of his. Then we see it later on in the movie.
I'd like a room, please.
Oh, don't you have one?
So this is the post that would have been brown in the shot, but it would have been right between Arthur's father checking in Richard and Richard. Richard would have been on the left. And that's when he's saying, don't you have a room? Well, I was rather ill when I checked in. Then as Arthur's father goes back here to grab the key off the wall.
Thank you.
This was in the movie. This is actually in the shot right next to where Arthur's dad is grabbing the keys from right over here. How crazy is that?
One single?
And then right there where that window is, there was a couch there, and that's where Richard brings Arthur his ball back that he took from behind the counter.
See you around, Arthur.
So we get a shot right here of Richard waiting for Elise, and then they come out here to catch a carriage.
Hello. You look lovely.
Thank you. Shall we? Sorry I'm late. Complications.
And once they start working their way down, they see William Fawcett Robinson following them.
Look like the Blade Runner shop.
Oh no.
So they get to right around here, and they hop on their carriage. And they ride it down this road. So here we are at Windermere Point. This patch of grass is actually where they filmed part of their date. When you see Richard and Elise walking out on their date, they're watching the people painting the pictures. They're actually here. And then part of their date, they get in a boat and they go out to that lighthouse out there. Problem is, that lighthouse out there is private. So I filmed it for you when we were coming in on the ferry. That's a point where he's asking her, like, what is with Robinson? She's saying that he knows that there will be someone.
Mr. Collier, it isn't easy being a successful actress.
It's all filmed out there. So now we're up at Cass Cliff, Lewis Cass Memorial. Our next location brought us out in the woods. I just jokingly told Katie this is where we fight to the death, but we have walked through the woods out here for a little treasure. This is not where it was located during the filming, but the gazebo does exist.
Sorry we had the carrot so long. Thank you.
They made it for the movie. Look, they even have a plaque. Let me read it to you because they'll probably have better information than me. During the summer of 1979, movie Somewhere in Time was made on Mackinac Island, starring Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour, and Christopher Plummer. The romantic fantasy tells the story of a man who wills himself back to 1912 to meet a woman he became captivated with after seeing her portrait. Except for a few scenes filmed in Chicago, the entire movie was shot on Mackinac Island. Numerous island locals were used, including Grand Hotel and the soundstage at Mission Point Resort. Released in 1980, the movie did poorly at the box office but gained a loyal following. The production company employed the state park to construct this gazebo for a scene shot near the public school. After filming, the gazebo was donated to the park and placed on the lawn of the governor's summer residence. In 2006, it was relocated to this location to allow public access. It's also available for weddings. Oh yeah. This is cool. This is so cool they kept it.
Snake on his face? We're gonna hang us for horse napping.
This is the scene that the end of their date. The end of Richard and Elise's date. They end up here, the carriage drops them off. And you think they're gonna kiss. Don't you, Katie? They want you to think they're gonna kiss. They're looking like it for a little bit. And that's when she tells him that she has to get back and rest before her performance. And he pulls out the pocket watch. But in reality, he got it from an older her. So it's kind of a neat scene.
Huh?
Stick out your tongue.
What? Oh, Mo.
He also meets with Robinson here. So it's really cool they kept it. All of these are still the same. They all still match up. Neat. You just got to make kind of a hike to get here. Right, Katie?
Yeah, we got our steps in on that one.
So here's the Mackinac Island Public School. Over at the gazebo, we saw that the gazebo used to be here. So when you see the carriage bring Richard and Elise out to the gazebo is out here.
Sorry we had the carriage so long. Thank you.
They had a little path that took them up there. So Katie, after seeing this movie and knowing, you know, that it's Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour, can you imagine that the original person that was considered for this was Bo Derek?
No, you can't really imagine anyone else doing a role like that.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about this was that when this movie came out, this was the first movie that Christopher Reeve had done since Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did the casting and Jane Seymour came, what she told them was, I'm Elise, I have to play this part. And they asked all the actresses one question. They all said, have you been in love? And they said she was the only one that said no. So we get the shot of Richard coming down this staircase after he realizes the company is already gone. Elise is gone. Comes right down through here. Starts to walk across the street. We have Richard right here, kind of looking back at the hotel, and then he starts meandering over here. Over into this seat. That is epic to see that seat for me. I think that is just one of the coolest scenes in a movie. He said he was worried about making this movie only because the ending, he dies of heartbreak. And he said he had just made Superman and was worried that people would have a problem with the guy being Superman dying of heartbreak. Rests his head on that post, and then you get that famous shot of the bench out there and her walking from over here and seeing his head right here and screaming his name. So this is what we see from Elisa's point of view. Richard starts running down the stairs when she calls his name, and she starts running towards him. And he's running down these steps. Oh man, it's magical. Magical, isn't it, Katie?
Magical.
It is. So he's racing down and down through here. She's racing through here, and they meet right there. Here's where Elise would have ran up. Right here, man. They kiss, embrace. He says, "I thought I lost you," and she said,
Never, never, never.
"Never, never, never." What a moment. What a moment. I'm not somebody that buys into a love story too often, because most times I think the movies just never get it right, but this was one of those fantastical movies that just created a premise, and I bought in the whole movie. The soundtrack is just as important as everything else. I think you hear the music and you're just like ready to weep. God, I love this scene. Of course, the sad part is when he finds that they finally go to their room and they have this special night together. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out the penny.
Special coin compartment for emergency.
Richard.
So the penny scene was always so depressing because he goes out of his way to remove everything that's modern day, and then he finds this penny from modern day, and he ends up going back to his normal time. But in reality, Christopher Reeve said that that day, the day that he filmed that, he found out from his girlfriend that she was pregnant with his son, his first son. So he said that day was an extra emotional day for him filming that scene. So pretty powerful movie. The ending I love. He basically dies of a broken heart, and when he dies, she's there to join him. But he always said he was, afraid of doing that as an ending because he just didn't know if people would want to see the guy they had just seen, Superman, die of a broken heart. But spectacular movie, I think. I love the movie, and I love being here where it was filmed. This place is so special. Would you travel back in time to find me?
I think I would.
Would you really?
I think I would.
I'd travel back in time to find you too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, perfect being here with you. So after he comes back to the present and he's going through his major heartbreak depression, we see Richard walking so sadly right here. And then our camera pulls back and you see that he is actually right here. In between the trees where he met Elise. He's just right there where that tree's hanging down. So then his sadness and depression cuts to back here at Windermere Park and the Round Island Lighthouse. And you see there's one single solitary table out there. So let me see Richard sitting out here basically kind of at that table. He's sitting on this end of it, and he's looking out at the lighthouse. And that's pretty much the last thing that we see him do. Before he just goes to his room, looks out the window and passes away. Really an amazing place. You can really feel the movie when you're here, I feel like it. So I know Katie knows this was a very special vlog for me, but it was even more special while we were here because I was reading that when Christopher Reeve passed away, his mother booked a cruise, and the cruise came by Mackinac Island, and she made arrangements to get off the cruise, get picked up by a horse and carriage, taken to the Grand Hotel, and she spent an entire day and night at the Grand Hotel as a way of saying goodbye to Christopher Reeve. So I thought that made this just a touch more special than most vlogs. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed our filming location vlog on Somewhere in Time. It's been a long time dream of mine to come here, and it did not disappoint. Thank you all for watching. Have a great night and go watch the movie. Goodbye.